Good evening, everyone. Tonight is Tuesday, January 20th, 2026. I would like to call to order the Board of Library Trustees regular board meeting for this January. May I have a roll call, please?
Trustee Burrell? Here. Trustee Gallo?
Here.
Trustee Kelly?
Here.
Trustee McFeely?
Here.
Trustee Meadow is absent. Trustee Watts?
Here.
President Simon?
Here. If we could stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Wow, I think we all saw some changes as we walked up, the carpet, the lighting, the paint. And was this huge screen here last time? No, it's big.
I don't know, was it? I don't think so.
No.
You can watch a football game on that.
Or a presentation about business services.
Oh.
And foreshadowing.
All right, do we have any public comment tonight? We do not, we don't have any members of the public in the audience. I always encourage you, if you're watching, you can come and be with us in person. We don't bite. All right, can you give us some liaison reports?
Yes, I will start with the Friends. The Friends have agreed to set aside $50,000 for the bookmobile. They're working on a grant and they have one last step before they receive payment for that. They had a good year in sales and a new single sale record of $31,000. And they appreciate all the support from library staff. That is what I have from the Friends. And then Lori from the foundation is here to report on the foundation.
Well, before you start, Lori, thank you to the Friends, $50,000 for our bookmobile. We are thrilled with that and congratulations on such outstanding book sales this year. They just keep getting bigger, so that's awesome. All right, Miss Lori.
Okay, my turn. Welcome to January. This is our 8th year being in the foundation business and supporting this library, which has been fabulous. We have, for the last 18 months, been pushing in a variety of ways to support the bookmobile initiative, and we pledged $150,000. And I will tell you that as of the end of December, we have 5 donors at $5,000. We have 4 donors at $10,000. We have 2 donors at $25,000, and we have over 50 donors that started at anywhere from 50 all the way up to $750,000. So we have made our 150, and we are continuing to collect funds. Whichever funds are earmarked for the bookmobile will definitely go to the bookmobile. So as soon as Mike gives me an invoice of, what he needs, we'll write that check. So we're very excited about bringing that campaign to an end.
That is amazing. Thank you so much.
It was an interesting campaign, and one like I've never participated in before, but it was a lot of fun. I've met a lot of people, heard a lot of stories. I think some of the best we're gonna try to capture and share with the public. But 3 of them are actually from anonymous donors that we're gonna try to figure out how we can share their bookmobile stories. But some of these are people that live in assisted living facilities that the library and the bookmobile has been a lifeline for them. And I mean, their stories are just so touching. So, those are the parts that none of you get to see that I get to experience that are just heartwarming. They're just heartwarming. Anyway, it's been a great campaign. I must say, I'm not happy to end it. It was a lot of work, but very, very enjoyable. We're currently working on we're working with your staff on ways to honor our larger donors that we sort of promised moving forward. And we're working with Sasha and Brian and the staff on some levels of recognition, as well as participation and recognition through the 100th celebration of the library. Moving on to our International Women's Day event. The title this year is Real Women, Remarkable Stories. The registration is now open. We've already, I believe we're up to 25 registrants. And the raffle prizes this year, we learned last year by participating with the One Book, One Village event that people really would rather have experiences than stuff or tchotchke. So we're really focusing on telling stories and providing experiences in the opportunity to tell stories. So we are working with the library staff to be able to tell our guests that evening the services that are offered here at the library that can help tell stories that people don't necessarily know about. So to promote some of the staff, as well as other ways of telling stories. So we're working on that. I've got a great team that's very focused, as Dana will attest to. So that registration is now open. Our registration, for scholarship opens March the 1st. We're working again with District 214 in getting all that information to all the schools. Our scholarship chair has met with the Pack House, and we'll do that again this year. We think that that really made a difference in getting some registrations last year. We will again offer 4 $2,500 scholarships. Some housekeeping items. We're creating a new brochure. The previous brochure, we really didn't use much last year. We used the brochure that we created to promote the bookmobile. And of course, that's now done. So we're getting ready to print a new brochure that should be available next month. We're working with the library staff to increase our presence on the donor screen. We realized that that little kind of tiny screen, now that we have more and more donors, it's kind of boring to stand there and scroll through all of that. So I got this great idea when I went to the Morton Arboretum. They have this beautiful, colorful screen that's, of course, 6 panels wide. We're not gonna do that. We're gonna do one bigger screen, but we're gonna try to do some graphics to create some interest for people to actually see the donor screen and all the people that are wonderful donors. And we're also updating our website that will also coordinate, so everything will go together and there'll be one branding. That's it. Have you got any questions for me?
No, but I just want to thank you. As a donor, I think that your communication is really top notch. I
Thank
mean,
you.
the way that you reach out to donors and, you know, I got something that said you made your goal and it was signed and wonderful. And sounds silly, but as someone, I was working on my taxes today, and even the way that you present donors with their tax form is really better than anybody else. It's
So
very
thank you for
easy
that.
to know
It's-
exactly what is tax deductible.
Thank you. It's nice to hear that. I learned from the best in this town. Chris Stabler Neiman was the communications director for Arlington Park. And she was a very good friend, and I watched her over the years and how you work with donors and you thank them and you thank them and you thank them again. So I learned from the best, and I hope that I can pass that on as if and when I leave the foundation. Well, when, not if, I will. Yeah, I think by communicating to people and offering transparency, that you build a level of trust in a product that people want to support. And you all have built the product that people want to support. It has made it easy on us to promote it. So thank you.
Yeah, well, I mean, the communication's great. People want to know that, yay, you reached your goal, and all that we're doing for the 100th anniversary, same thing, like celebrating the library. I think that's really critical. So thank you.
Yeah.
Amazing work.
All right. Moving on to the approval of the minutes from the regular board meeting from December 16th.
I move approval of the meeting for Tuesday, December 16th, 2025.
May I have a second?
Seconded.
All right, so the motion was made by trustee Gala and seconded by trustee Watts. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right, reviewing the financial report for the period ending December 31st, 2025.
Okay. There were no real estate tax revenue, or there was no real estate tax revenue recognized in the month of December. The second installment, property tax bills for Cook County were mailed on November 14th and due December 15th. So as payments come in, they would flow from the taxpayers through the county, the village, and ultimately to the library. The latest information we have is that taxpayer payments are held up at the county level. The Cook County treasurer indicates that they will begin distributing funds daily starting on January 20th. We'll be in regular communication with the village this week to monitor whether those funds are arriving and to be prepared to discuss funding options, which would be needed in approximately another 3 months. There's no long-term change to our budget strategy. We continue to strive to keep reserves at the highest possible end of our fund balance policy because of the unknowns around the Cook County, being a Cook County library. The library received personal property replacement taxes in the amount of $20,694.77 this month. Our copier printer revenue totaled $3,811.01. Meeting room fees were $275. Lost item charges totaled $741.59. December's interest was $5,529.33. The budget for interest income is derived from historical trends, and interest rates are lower than what we have seen in recent years. That means that when the interest rates change significantly up or down, the budget will lag behind and there'll be a favorable or unfavorable actual to budget variance that year as a result. Donations totaled $174.63. Other income was $116.70. Friends of the Library reimbursed us for $8,750.82, the bulk of which was the OBOB author visit, holiday decorations, and Sunday musicale. Revenue collected for vehicle stickers totaled $327. Maker Place miscellaneous revenue was $1,315.60. And the total revenue collected in December was $41,776.45. For expenses, 100% of the fiscal year has lapsed, and we've expensed 97% of our total operating budget. The favorable variance to date is $453,594. 77% of the total annual capital budget has been expensed as of December. Interior renovations was the most significant project of 2025, which will come in comfortably under budget. These figures will change slightly as we in the village perform the year-end entries over the coming weeks. For example, medical insurance by department appears over budget in this month's expenditure report, but that's due to the village still working on the year-end entries, which will be trued up later. Should the department end the year over budget, we will use that information during budget time to consider amending the budget for that line item for the following year. However, overages are rarely a surprise at the end of the year. Department heads who are responsible for their budgets monitor spending closely each month and communicate with finance and administration about any known operational reasons that might put them over budget. They also try to offset expected overages by staying under in other lines, either in their department or at the organizational level. And finally, any unbudgeted expenditures would have needed additional approval by the administrative team during the year. And then preliminary field work for the 2025 audit has begun, so we'll be providing a full report on the final 2025 numbers once that's complete. I did have a couple of other questions. We had an issue with the HVAC at the Maker Place last week. There was a question about the long-term replacement planning for these units. The unit that was affected was fairly new. It was part of the renovation over there when we built the Maker Place. The damage was the result of a fluctuation in power. So it doesn't change our replacement plans for those units. We do have a power conditioning unit in place, but for some reason it didn't flush out that power surge. ComEd was working on the power over there that morning and had power out over there for, I think, 4 hours before that happened. So I think it's an anomaly, but those units are fairly new. We've not heard of any issues with the timeline with the bookmobile and are planning for the first half of the year still. And the EV charging stations are currently hung up with ComEd. Our vendor's working with them. I don't have an installation date yet, but all of the field work is done. We're just waiting on ComEd's side to give us the go-ahead. So that is all the questions I had for the financial report. Anybody have any other questions?
No. I would just like to make a comment that it's really pretty crazy that we're not getting our tax money yet, and that's why we have money in reserve. And it's, I'm sure we've all read the articles about some of the school districts having to borrow money and paying money on interest. And I think that our policy, at least so far, has been very, very helpful. So that's terrific. 3 months is a lot, but boy, we better get that money within 3 months. And congratulations on working so hard to be under budget in terms of expenditures. I know that every department and everyone works really hard to make that happen. which is terrific. So now we just wait and see what our tax revenue really is, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
And it's nice to see that it's starting to move. I
Yes,
don't know what
yes.
rate that's gonna be.
I mean, I
but-
think there's a lot of public pressure.
Mhm.
Obviously, there's, a lot behind the scenes, but, again, some of the school districts, like Chicago Public Schools, millions of dollars that they're incurring in interest because they have to borrow money, so we're in a good position, but, that's smart planning. All right, moving to, review the check register.
Okay, I had a few questions from the check register. First on page 5, check 105452 to Thomas Interior Systems for $493.50. This was a purchase of parts to switch some of our public chairs from having arms and wheels to having no arms and carpet glides to improve accessibility for our customers. The $493.50 modified 42 chairs. On page 6, check 105335 to Arlington Heights Memorial Library in the amount of $369.44. This is a credit card charge to Signs by Tomorrow for printing of what we call shelf talkers. They're small printed signs throughout the stacks to help customers more easily find their way in the collection. Then on page 12, check 105415 to M&J Technologies in the amount of $7,500. This is for the replacement of 4 iMac computers in the hub. This is budgeted actually for 2026, but we moved it up to the 2025 budget year. On page 13, check 105457 to Verdant Commercial Capital in the amount of $4,974. This is for the payment for the lease on our copiers. This was sold from Macari to Verdant during 2025. Macari was our old vendor for this. The total term of the lease contract is 5 years. The monthly payment is approximately $2,500 a month, and the amount on the register is for 2 months, January and February of 2026. On page 14, check 105323 to 2010 Engineering Group in the amount of $4,750. That is half of the total fire alarm engineering work for the replacement of the fire alarm panel at the main library, which is budgeted for this year. This work, the engineering work, was budgeted in this line for 2025 and is necessary to prepare proper specifications for replacing the panel and all the devices. This is unrelated to the fire alarm replacement at the Maker Place, which was also budgeted for in 2025. The fire alarm replacements are budgeted as capital projects. On page 14 and 54, check 105373 to Fox Valley Fire and Safety, the amount of $31,050. This is broken up into a couple different projects. There's a $19,650 portion, which was budgeted in 2025 as an allowance to repair sprinkler piping gradually for the dry system in the parking garage. So some of the pipe, especially those closest to the parking lot and Euclid Avenue, have developed pinhole leaks, mostly because of exposure to salt coming in from those areas. The project replaced those sprinkler lines. This was not an emergency repair, so warranty or building insurance did not apply in this case. The remaining $11,400 was budgeted as a planned replacement of an obsolete alarm panel over at the Maker Place. And then page 24, check 105425 to Carla Ribeiro Machudo, Portugal, for the amount of $38.88. That is for the Titanic and Lincoln programs that were cost shared with multiple libraries. The amount is correct and represents our portion. However, the payee should have been made to the Cary Area Public Library. This was caught when preparing the checks for the mailing, so we voided the check and will communicate with the correct payee about the reissue. On page 25, check 105434 to Rails in the amount of $7,500. That is for a 1-year subscription for Udemy, which is for 2026. That offers over 3,500 on-demand video tutorials covering technology, business and management, languages, job and career skills, arts, hobbies, and personal growth. Also on page 25, check 105443 to Size Up Inc. in the amount of $6,325. That is for a 1-year renewal to Size Up following an initial 3-year subscription, and this is for 2026 also. Size Up provides business owners, startups, and aspiring entrepreneurs with market research and business insights to help them make smarter decisions with data to effectively grow their business. Then on page 25, Also, check 105445 to Spring Share LLC in the amount of $5,625. That is for the 2026 subscription for not only our texting and ticketing service, but also for the 24/7 reference service chat cooperative, which ensures our customers have around-the-clock access to expert MLS-degreed librarians via online chat to assist with their research and information needs. We contribute 2 hours per week to the co-op, which reduces our price, and then the consortium covers us during our closed hours. And then on page 46, and on page 2, check 105356 to Collection HQ in the amount of $11,340. That is an annual subscription for library collection development and performance improvement software. That goes from February 2026 to February 2027. This portion related to 2027 is on page 2 as a prepaid. Collection HQ harnesses library data analytics to provide librarians with a tool set that supports efficient, effective, and evidence-based collection management. It gives us data to make informed reading decisions, allowing us to schedule reading reports to run on a regular basis, helps us to identify grubby or outdated stock, indicates dead on arrival titles, and provides lists of top circulating titles. Those are all the questions I had.
What are dead on arrival titles?
They're
What does that
damaged items.
mean? Okay.
And then weeding is pulling items out that we no longer.
Yeah, I've never heard that on arrival before. Okay, thank you. Does anyone else have any other questions on the check register? No.
I move approval of the accounts payable check register for the Arlington Heights Memorial Library for December 31st, 2025 in the amount of $1,610,205.48.
I'll second that.
All right, that motion was made by trustee Gala and seconded by trustee Kelly. May I have a roll call, please?
Trustee Burrell? Yes. Trustee Bella?
Yes.
Trustee Kelly?
Aye.
Trustee McFetrich?
Yes.
Trustee Watts?
Yes.
President Simon?
Aye. All right. Moving on to the executive director's report.
All right, so, busy month this month. On the first page, December 2025 marks the Maker Place's busiest December ever. December 2025 was the busiest December in Maker Place history and the second highest month on record for equipment usage. Maker Place welcomed over 1,500 visitors and staff answered more than 1,800 reference questions, reflecting exceptionally strong community engagement, learning, and hands-on activity. Seasonal interest in making paired with ongoing personal and collaborative projects helps sustain steady use throughout the month. Then on the next page, the staff highlight, our info services manager, Jolie Duncan, who's joining us here tonight, participated in the Public Library Association's Scholarship Review Committee. This involved reviewing over 50 applications from around the country to award scholarships to attend the 2026 PLA conference in Minneapolis. Then on the next page, our programs and exhibits coordinator, Nikki, brought back this beloved weekend-long exhibit, the Lego Train exhibit, presented by the Northern Illinois Lego Train Club. The one-of-a-kind display fills the Hendrickson Room with hundreds of thousands of Lego bricks and hundreds of custom and unique Lego builds by club members. Nearly 1,980 adults and children marveled at the whimsical creations from cityscapes to blockbuster video and featured beloved characters like Superman and John McClane. And then on that same page at the bottom, 300 customers celebrated the end of the year and welcomed the new year at the library. Attendees were entertained with a balloon show by Smarty Pants and counted down to a balloon drop at noon. For those that were unable to attend due to the limited capacity, a craft was available in Kids World, engaging 90 additional customers. And on the next page, wanted to highlight the inaugural 20 and 30 series after a successful year. Since launching in January 2025, the 20s and 30s series engaged 239 program attendees with 13 unique programs, 9 of which were off-site. Staff across departments now collaborate to plan and host the events. 2026 will see an addition of a quarterly book discussion just for adults age 18 to 39 and quarterly programs at the Maker Place just for younger adults. And on page 5, a couple of things that we've done to meet social and economic needs. First of all, we have Meet with a Career Coach. Last month, Info Services launched a new program where customers received a personalized 30-minute session with a career coach. In 2026, this program will be offered quarterly. Last month, the iCash representative helped 11 customers find over $40,000 in total in unclaimed money. An iCash representative is scheduled for 4 visits in 2026, and staff are considering adding more visits. And then in 2025, Village of Arlington Heights social worker Darren Brown met with more than 80 customers in the library to provide local resources and referrals related to mental health, government programs and benefits, community programs, and financial resources. And on page 6, the year-long influencers display featured 24 influencers with 154 titles and 3,526 checkouts. Collections manager Lisa Babas collaborated with community engagement supervisor Catalina Shin, our programs and exhibits manager Jennifer Chaika, their teams, and info services advisor Diane Malik to host the library's first influencers reception in December. 18 influencers attended, and several mentioned how honored they were to be selected and how much they enjoyed seeing the other titles that influenced people. That's everything that's going to highlight in the director's report. You guys have any questions on anything or highlight anything else?
Lots of good stuff. It looks like we're really using the Henderson room. Those are some big, well-attended events, making use of all that space, which is fabulous. Do you know if they're planning on doing, are you planning on doing the influencer?
For 2026, I believe we're not.
Yeah. Gotcha. All right. Wonderful. Anyone else?
I just appreciate that the director's report does a great job of pointing out that, like, you think of a library, it's easy to just think about the books, but I love that it's highlighting, like, there's financial resources, there's resources for folks who are looking to get jobs. I think that is really important, especially, as all of us really considered, like, how important the library is to the community during budget time and tax season. I think it's great that you're highlighting some of the other ways that we engage with our patrons. So very cool.
Yeah, and I always would love to see it on the front page, but I know you're working on the refresh. It's great to look at the calendar when you're signing up for things or planning your month, but then it's kind of fun to see, wow, I couldn't attend that, but look at how cool it was. And the visuals, I think, are really helpful too. So,
Yeah, question. With the puzzles, that have the library's picture, page, is that like, is Ravensburger, did they do that?
They did. Yeah, you can actually send in a photo and
Okay,
have a puzzle made.
okay.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It's on page 5. That's really cool.
Any other questions?
all right.
Okay, next up, I'd like to introduce Diane Malik, and she is going to talk to us about business services and some of the connections that we make in our community. So, Diane.
Hello. Hello. I'm gonna move.
So as Mike said, I'm Diane Malik, I'm a public services advisor. And my role in a nutshell though is to support our customers who are small businesses, entrepreneurs and nonprofits. So that's my focus. And this past year, I kind of just did a little project of the year to really dig into a couple of these series programs that I have. Small Business Coffee and Connect and the Nonprofit Exchange. And really try to, the value that we get from these are the connections that people make. And so to really look at that a little bit more. And what did you say about?
Go ahead and try clicking and see if it goes.
Okay.
Oh, perfect. You're on.
That's it? Okay, I'm good to go. Okay, so kind of the story of this program is, I do a lot of networking and I do outreach in the small business community around here. And I realized, hey, the library would be a great place actually to have a networking event. I was going to networking events and meeting people and telling them about library services that we have for them. But I realized that we probably could be a good place for that. So I went ahead and tried that, had one in February of 2020. And it was great. About 20 people came. It really went well. I was so pleased with it. And then lots of positive feedback from the attendees, and then COVID shuts down. So like a lot of things, it went on, it had to be paused, ended up having to be paused for quite a while. But in April of 2022, more than 2 years later, got it back up and going, and it's never stopped. It's been every other month since then. So it's been going like gangbusters. And really what's helped it grow so much is I'm out there doing community outreach, of course, talking about it, and yelling about it from wherever I can. But really word of mouth from the attendees has kind of been really what's made it kind of special. People are always talking about it and sharing it with others. And these are the numbers. So you can see in 2022, I had 106 people attend, and then this past year we had 369. And it's just kind of continued to go up, and now we're having an average of about 60 attendees at every program. And it's been pretty stable for a little bit, and so it seems like we kind of hit our natural limit, like where it is. Like, I don't think success going forward looks like me continuing to try to increase it or build it, but just kind of keep it there and keep the quality of it high. So, and trustee Burrell has attended, so she knows what just got a great feel when you're there, but it's gotten a lot bigger. So, and as it's grown, there had to be some changes. So we've moved from Cardinal to Hendrickson, of course. And there's a portion, there's of course one-on-one networking that happens, but there's a portion where we do an around the table. So everybody has a moment to introduce themselves and their company or their organization. And it's gone from just kind of open-ended, like, oh, introduce yourself, say what you'd like, to everybody 15 seconds or less. And people understand that and they get it, because you really want to kind of make sure that you get that one-on-one time talking with people in the room. And after you do the around the table, often people are like, oh, there's somebody from that place, I want to talk to them, or they would be a good connection for me. So doing that, people really like that part of it, because then they really they can make a beeline for who they want to connect to that they didn't realize was there. Also, our marketing department made this lovely small business coffee and connect banner. So people now like to take photos with that and say, hey, I was at this great event, and they post it on LinkedIn and other socials and stuff. So that's been fun to have. And because does an event even happen now if there isn't a post yet, right? So we had to get in on that. And then something else is now I have sponsors for the coffee and the food, and it's been a really big hit. So I always, provided coffee and some donuts, but now there's 3, when I say sponsors, it's that they are getting the item and bringing it. So one organization signs up to bring the coffee, one signs up to bring the donuts, and one signs up to bring the fruit. Because now we added fruit because we want to be healthy, right? So anyways, it's a big hit. All the spots got filled in 2025, but when I opened it up for this year, for 2026, within 24 hours, every spot was filled. Like, it was just right away, people want to do it because they get a little bit extra promotion. I mentioned them, I put their logo in the email when I send a reminder out. So just that little bit that kind of puts them kind of on the top, they really like that. And then also making an effort for it to be a waste-free event. So a composting and recycling organization, helped me realize, like, hey, there are some basic little things we can do to help this be a waste-free event. And so we've been doing those, and I think everybody feels really good about that and likes it. And then also, it's just kind of started a trend. So after I started it a few years ago, I was having librarians from other libraries call and say, hey, I'm hearing about this event, can you tell me how you do it? And so I kind of lay it out with them and say, this is what's worked here. And each library is a little different, so they may have their own take on it. But now they're doing it at Mount Prospect and Addison and Wilmette, some others, I think. So it's just a great thing that public libraries can do for their small business community. I went back. That's not the right way. Okay, so then, also worth mentioning was, like I said, there's just something about this program where people really feel a partnership in it, and they themselves will post, hey, I want everyone in my network to know this event's coming up, don't forget to go. Like, I'm not asking them to do this, they're just posting about it. And so it's great to see that. And people are hearing about it from others and then calling me and asking if they can attend, like I'm some kind of, I'm gonna limit, yes, if you're free, please come. Because the no barriers do make it unique for a networking event. It's often part of a membership. Or you have a registration with a fee. And so this way it's just, maybe you're just starting out and your marketing budget is 0, but you realize you want to make some connections so you can come and talk about, the new, side business that you're starting or whatnot. And we have medium and larger businesses there as well, with business development associates attending, but also really a lot of smaller one-person solopreneurs. How do you say that word? Solopreneurs coming. So it makes it unique, and it makes it easy for anybody. And then there's also an opt-in contact list that I have each time. So you just do the QR code. You can provide your name and your email if you'd like to be part of a contact list that I send out. And it's opt-in every time. But you know, a lot of people are there because they want people to be able to reach them. They're trying to make these connections and they're trying to, you know, build relationships with people. So most people choose to do that. I send it out after the event. So recently I learned that the Small Business Development Center that's out of Harper, you know, they do so much to support new entrepreneurs and small businesses. And now they're sending people to this event saying this is a great event for you to go to. So I felt like, oh my gosh, that's so nice that they're doing that. And then the same thing over at the village. There's been a few times now that people are saying that when they've met with the economic development manager there, that they say, you know, you're starting out, whatever, and you know, this is really one of the greatest networking events in Arlington Heights. Don't miss this one. And so like the fact that these places are recommending it just feels great, you know. And then last September, because of the construction going on up here, I coordinated it with the Village of Arlington Heights to host it over at Village Hall. And it went so well and they were so excited by it and stuff. They called and said, can we do one again? Or can we do it once each year? Can we have it here next September? So this September, it'll be there again. So it's really nice. It's in that community boardroom, you know, it's like nice and tall in the morning, the sun is coming in and it really was a lovely location for it. And then, and I had done a survey in 2024, you know, again, keeping just, you know, let's make sure that I'm not totally missing something. And the ratings came back really high. So I was like, okay, we're on the right track here. And then I had just posted one comment from each of the years so far, if you just kind of take a moment to read. And then on the right, there's a photo, you can see now how it's kind of gotten bigger and why we need to go a little bit quicker when we do around the table. But these are the types of comments that we're getting all the time. And tomorrow morning actually is the first one of the year. And already on LinkedIn, other people have posted, hey, don't forget, this is the first one of the year coming up. And then people in the comments of there, they just gush about how much they love how much they love this networking event, how it's got a good vibe and all these nice things. So hopefully you had a chance to look at those. And then I wanted to mention the nonprofit exchange. This has been around for about 2 years and it's for nonprofit professionals. So nonprofit people go to Small Business Coffee and Connect. Actually, it's a great place because they meet people and businesses who then sponsor their events and things. So it's actually like a match made in heaven. But really, I wanted to have something, and I was hearing from them that they also would like something just about them and their needs and their particular situations. And so this one has a training component to it as well. So you can see these things here are the topics so far that we've had, that I've had like an expert come in like that. You can see and speak on a topic for part of it. And then the other part of it is the networking and peer-to-peer support and getting to know each other. And then, this meets quarterly, so it doesn't meet as often as the other one, but right now this seems to be about the right amount. The attendance is doubled from around 10 to around 20 people each time. And, just in terms of me kind of learning, you know, all these connections and stuff throughout the last year as I was, you know, doing surveys and asking questions and stuff, is a lot of people go to both. So it's just kind of like all of the responses I got aren't differentiated between nonprofit exchange and Coffee and Connect. And so basically what I wanted to look at last year was just more about the impact of the program because the true value really are the firsthand stories. So there's all these positive comments, which are wonderful, but they're more general. And again, some people, when I asked for feedback, gave me, you can see I had 18 of those, but 39 people then did really specifically say, you know, this is my company and I met Joe from company ABC. And now because of that connection, this great thing happened for my business, you know, like specific connections, which are just great. And this column here with referrals and volunteers and customers and introductions, these were the words that just kept coming up in all of the stories that they were sharing, all the testimonials. And they're just all things that, you know, that they're looking for and that they get from this. So it's just great to see the effect of it. And then this is just another one of those examples of postings that somebody else, an attendee posted about it. And this is just a photo from one of the events. And then, so this is, if you want to just read this, this is one of the testimonials that somebody sent in. It's just great. And so that's what I mean about just a specific connection that made a difference to them. And then, here were a couple more. I guess I'll read these. I have a success story for you because of people I met at Coffee and Connect. Multiple donors donated to Omni by shopping our kids' personalized holiday wish lists. Sarah of Organized Impact made the Omni Holiday Drive a Family Service Project. Molly of Blooming Studio and Shop hung wish lists in her business for patrons to shop and donate. And Erica of College Hunts championed it as the charity of the month for her networking group. So those are just such great connections. And then Dave from Mark Allen Realty, Coffee Connect's a great way to network and collaborate with others to grow your business. I appreciate the giving mindset the attendees bring to each event. Recently, I met 2 local business owners that assisted me with the listing and sale of my clients' homes. They brought the concierge services that align with my brand, and I've since used them again and again. So I just love those connections. These were a few more that I guess I'll just let you read for a minute. And just so you can kind of get a sense of why it has come to be important to the local small business community here. I like the sentence, kudos to the Arlington Heights Memorial Library for creating the kind of environment that helps small businesses thrive. Like, I feel like that kind of says it in a nutshell. So. And I think another key thing I hear a lot is the support system. I just think some people who, sometimes it can be very lonely being an entrepreneur. And so I think they've kind of found a tribe, you know, they found a support system. And that's it. That was just a couple more photos from it. So are there any questions about this?
So do you have to live in Arlington Heights or have your business in Arlington Heights or be a library card holder?
No, not for these. No, because businesses go over borders. You know, so
Right,
somebody's
yeah.
business might be in Palatine, but they do,
Right.
a lot of Arlington Heights
Yeah.
customers or something.
Yeah.
So no, for this, if there was a reason to limit to that at some point, certainly we would, you know, could or would. But so far, there just hasn't seemed to be, I think it's more helpful, like all businesses go across all the borders. So sometimes I think it's even helped people. Actually, they didn't know anybody from outside of like right here. And so now they have some connections in the neighboring towns and stuff. So it's, I'd still say it's very Arlington Heights heavy, but yeah, we have a nice mix. Yeah. And there's always a great mix of returnees, regulars, and new people, so. Kind of nice too, yeah.
Not a question, but I'll just say from my personal experience, like I was terrified the first time I went and people were so nice. Like I had no reason to be nervous or scared.
Right.
Like, yeah, everyone was so welcoming and inviting and.
And I think that's for everybody, yeah, when they attend the first time, yeah, that they realize, because I think a lot of times networking events are super stressful. And sometimes networking groups have these like, what do you call it? I don't want, not rules, but, like expectations, like you need to give me 3 referrals by the end of the month, or like, there's not an expectation here.
Mhm.
So do what feels comfortable for you, you know, at it, which I like.
Have you ever hosted, the Coffee and Connect might be too big, but the nonprofit exchange, I wonder, just because I like to show it off, if there would ever be an occasion to host it at the Maker Place.
Yeah, I mean, that absolutely could be something we do. Yeah, it's a nice idea. actually.
Smaller.
Cause then we could do it. Yeah. Yeah, I like that idea. I like that idea.
I mean, only because maybe as someone that's lived here like almost 35 years and I had never been to the senior center. The senior center is really cool. Again, you know, not necessarily the audience, but just to expose more people in the community
Yeah.
to it is always a good idea,
Well,
I think.
and you know what I've learned though, doing outreach and networking, you know, again, my area is small business and nonprofit, but everybody is also, you know, a resident or they're a parent or they're like, so like,
Or they have parents.
or they, whatever, they have, well, exactly, whatever, like the in is not always business.
Right.
And so like I talk about everything, you know, like people are like, you can do what? You know, their library things, what's that? Or, you know, the Maker Place, or, you know, they can't believe all the various things. I often will say like, no, I haven't been in the library in years. And they say, well, you know, it's not that quiet, dusty place with just books that you're thinking of. Like it has evolved. And, you know, and I kind of filled them in a little bit on the things and their interest might be somewhere else. So they might be a crafty person who likes the Maker Place, but, you know, then they start to realize, oh gosh, the Maker Place has a lot of things for my business too.
Right.
So, yeah, it's all, yeah, it's,
Can I just say, you've had guest speakers talking about things at the library there as well, like,
yes.
So they do get exposure to other parts of the library.
Absolutely, yep, yeah. Yeah. Anything else? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right. That was great. Thank you so much. It was really informative. Old business.
No old or new business.
No old business, new business.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Else.
Does anyone have any other items?
I,
I do want to mention one thing. So, the Friends of the Library, Allison Anderson has been, the book committee chair forever. That's technical thing. And she is actually, stepping down as the book, sale committee chair. And so I just wanted to say thank you to her for all of her service over the years. She has worked tremendously hard to make it the success that it is today. So, in case anyone wasn't aware, I just wanted to let you guys know that she was making that change. I'm spending more time with family, so super, super excited for her, but also super sad for us because those are kind of big shoes to fill. So
Thank you.
I just want to let the board know that we're going to be doing some pilot hour changes over at the senior center. Dana and her team have been looking at evaluating the hours over there, and they want to try some changes out. This is going to start March 1st. We're no longer going to be open on Saturdays because there's really no other agencies over there on Saturdays, and the numbers are very low. Instead, we're going to be open a little bit later on Wednesdays. That's where there's a lot of programming over there, and I think we close at 4:30 over there now. So we're going to stay open until 6. It also free us up to do some other outreach and other work over there. Dana, do you have anything else you want to add about?
No, this is just in cooperation with the village. They're excited about this, having the extension on Wednesday hours versus Saturday because there's a lot of programs that the village offers. And this will give some of the early birds a place to go since everything else is generally closed at 4:30. So this allows more people to come during the evening to get their holds and enjoy the library before their event starts. Nice.
So we're going to pilot these hours, see how it goes, and if it results in a permanent change, we'll bring that hours policy back and we'll discuss more.
All right.
Okay.
I'm not sure if it was in our weekly news clippings, but I did read the articles about, I believe a law was instituted in Illinois for public libraries to have Narcan. And I double checked with Mike that we do have that and we do have trained staff, so we are participating in that.
Amy?
Yeah.
Sorry, quick question. I don't mean to put you on the spot, Mike, but, can you give us a quick bookmobile update if
Sure.
there is one?
Yeah, we've been working with the company, just, kind of verifying, what we had submitted, to, as far as options go and layout and all that stuff. Sasha and his team kind of picked out the colors and fabrics and stuff. We signed off on the final drawings, which kind of lays out where the door is going to be and the windows and, stuff like that. So they're moving along. I have not heard any diversion from the timeline. So in fact, whenever there's something that comes up, they're very clear about, we need this back by this date, in order to stay on our timeline. So, I feel like they're working pretty efficiently. Winnebago still has the vehicle and they're the ones outfitting like the windows and doors and the main structure. And then, they'll turn it over to Tech Ops and then Tech Ops will have it for a little bit to put in the shelving and all that stuff. So, so far, yeah, so good.
And where is that physically? Where is the Winnebago? And then when it moves to the next thing, like where physically is it?
Good question.
Far away?
No, I can't remember. Yeah, I want to say it's Maryland, but
Oh, really? Okay.
there were so many different vendors and I cannot remember exactly where Tech Ops is, but I think it is Maryland because I know they were close to Washington, DC, and they do a lot of federal vehicles. So
That's
I think that
exciting.
might be the one.
We
Yeah.
both think that. There's gotta be something
Right,
to it,
right.
right?
Exactly. Yes. So,
Right.
any other questions?
No. All right, I would take a motion to adjourn. So moved. Motion made by trustee Burrell and seconded by
second.
trustee Watts. All in favor?
All right.
Thank you, everyone.